Credit's easy, right? Just pay your bills on time? Wrong. There's 5 different sections of the credit scoring algorithm, and any action that you make typically has a ripple effect, not only in one scoring section, but in many others that are associated with it. It's not as simple as just paying your bills on time, and if all you do is pay your bills on time, a lot of the time you're going to end up with a score stalling out in the mid 600s. So let me show you how to understand the rules of the credit scoring algorithm and how to harness it to be a true tool for you and your family to make great financial decisions and to access financial opportunities. So, smallest to biggest. We're going to start with the new credit section of the credit scoring algorithm. And that really refers to the number of inquiries that you have, or are you seeking out new credit, and the number of accounts that are new compared to seasoned accounts. So usually that's going to be looking at a 6-month time frame, possibly a 12-month time frame, compared to your accounts that are older than that. And if your credit score or credit report is mostly made up of new accounts, your credit scores are just going to be a little bit lower for a while, and there's nothing you can do about it besides make those on-time payments. But when you're adding inquiries, that can affect this section of the scoring algorithm. That being said, inquiries in general don't have that big of an impact on your credit score. You're usually talking 0 to 3 points if a lender is pulling your credit report. If you're checking your own score online, there's no impact to your score because no hard inquiry is generated. The second section of the credit scoring algorithm that also makes up 10% is proper mix of credit. A lot of people think that they can fly safe through credit, or they're listening to some financial guru tell them to cut up all their credit cards, close out all their accounts. See, the credit scoring algorithm wants to see you use credit wisely. It wants to see you go out into the real world and use installment loans like a car loan. It wants to see you use a credit card responsibly and pay it off every month and not get over those 50%, 30%, 10% markers that I'm going to talk to you in a little bit. But it wants to see you go out and do things and do them responsibly. It doesn't want to see you get 1 or 2 accounts and then sit there quietly, because that does not display that you are a good risk to lend more credit to. So you have to have the proper mix of credit, meaning both credit cards and installment loans, revolving and installment. And then you need to use both of those wisely. If you don't have this proper mix, you're either typically going to hit a ceiling in the mid to low even 600s, where you're not going to be able to go any higher, or in some extreme cases, you're not even going to generate a credit score at all because you're not playing by the rules of the game. The next section of the credit scoring algorithm is payment history, length of history. And this is one of those golden sections that you cannot recreate, you can't get points back quickly from. Let me explain. This is your true resume, your loyalty indicator. Do you open an account, keep it open, use it wisely for a long time? And when you go and you close accounts out, what you're doing is you're drastically impacting this section of the credit scoring algorithm, because what it does is it takes in all of your accounts, adds them up, and then looks how old they are, and then averages that. So if you close out your oldest credit card and your next cards are all an average of 4 years old, and that one wasn't 10 years old, now all of a sudden your average goes all the way down to only 4, as opposed to with that outlier bringing that average up. So you can really hurt yourself by closing out accounts. It's basically like you lose that pay history is the impact that you're having on your credit scoring algorithm. So again, 15% is that length of pay history. Now we get into the big guys. 30% of your credit scoring algorithm is made up of credit usage. And honestly, I call this the credit card section, because it's really looking at your balance to limit ratio on your revolving accounts, which are your credit cards. Basically, what I'm trying to say is it wants to see that you're using your credit cards and using them responsibly, because those are the accounts that come with the most risk, because they just say, here's a credit line, let's see what you do with it. Now, to master this section of the credit scoring algorithm, you're going to hone in on your credit card balance to limit ratios. And you're going to understand that you are scored on both your individual balance to limit ratios on your credit cards and the overall balance to limit ratio of all of your revolving lines added up. So, couple key things. I want you to keep these credit card limits always below 50% of the balance to limit ratio. If you have a $1,000 credit card, I want that thing at $499 max Always. Because once you cross over that 50% threshold, the credit scoring algorithm goes, oh my gosh, they're overextending themselves, they don't have cash. And because of that, you become a bigger risk and your credit score is going to start going down. In a perfect world, I want you to keep those balances below 30% of the balance to limit ratio. And if I was in heaven and maximizing your credit score for you, I would always maintain a 5 to 10% balance to limit ratio on those cards. Why not pay it to zero? Because every month when your credit is pulled, it's just a snapshot right then and there. If you've paid those balances off to zero at the wrong time, that activity might not even pick up and you're not going to be maximizing the points that you could have out of this very important section of the credit scoring algorithm. Again, that section makes up 30% or almost a third of your overall credit score, and you can entirely control this through your use of your revolving credit lines. Now, the biggest one, 35%, is your pay history. Do you pay your bills on time? And if you don't, how far did you let them go? This is basically the late pay calculator. Do you have 30, 60, 90 days late on accounts? And then how recently are those also does play a large impact, because a late pay of over 24 months might not have any impact on the score or very little compared to a late pay this month, which could have a 60, 80 point swing depending on your overall credit makeup. But this is the one section where no excuses, do not add late pays. Get everything on auto pay and you're not gonna have to worry about this. But no matter what, you have to make sure to make the minimum payment, because there is no such thing as a little late pay. A late pay on an account that you owed $5 on impacts your credit just as much as missing your car payment. So make sure that those payments are always made on time. Make sure that you're mastering these 5 sections of the credit scoring algorithm and understand that they all interweave and overlap on each other. One thing is never just one thing. It's always going to impact multiple sections of the credit scoring algorithm.